The last day of the year, a perfect time for reflection, and what a 2025 it was for the Indiana Pacers, perhaps the greatest calendar year in franchise history. Derek Kramer and I will remember all of it today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and Circle City Spin, and today, a podcast that happens every year, whether the Pacers are playing well like they were at this time a year ago or terrible like they are right now. Best of the year. Last year, we got to talk about a conference finals run and a Siakam trade with Zach Pearson. The year before, we talked about an in-season tournament run and a Haliburton new contract and things of that nature. And those are both quiet years compared to the epic 2025 the Pacers just went through. Derek Kramer, a.k.a. iPacerblog, joins me today to relive the playoff run, some crazy games you forgot about, a certainly crazy game you forgot about, some crazy highlights, and so much more. The Pacers might stink right now, but what a year it was. So much to get to with Derek. Let's just get right to it. What a crazy year for the Indiana Pacers. Usually the best of the year podcast is focused on an in-season tournament run, an Obi Toppin buzzer beater, some nice playoff games, but moments that are few and far between. 2025 for the Pacers had countless. I have so many tabs open of games, some of which I remembered, some I did not, that were crazy. The finals run, shot after shot after shot, highlights here, new players there. Probably, in fact, almost certainly the best calendar year in franchise history. My guest today, we will review what I consider the best calendar year in franchise history. Unless you don't agree, it's Derek Kramer from iPacerblog, who's back again because his life schedule is great this time of year. Derek, hello. Do you agree with that? Is there other finals year they were better the next season? Maybe they weren't 6-27 at the end of 2000.
No, the 2025 Pacers, like from January through Game 7, like that's my favorite time being a sports fan, like even over just the Pacers. So yeah, this is by far the best year. It was just like we could have recorded this in July probably and not talked about anything past that, and it still would have been
one
like
thing I think will make
greatest collection.
One thing.
You have one. I have a bunch of things that we included because you asked me to try to come up with things. But
I did give Derek an assignment.
The quality of these events compared to the other ones from before.
We'll obviously be focusing on the highs of the early part of the year, but I told Derek to try to include something that I would not have and something from after the finals from the calendar year. I'm so excited to see what you cook up, but we're not even going to start close to that. Where do I even begin with the postseason runs? Because there's obviously 4 incredible buzzer beaters. There's the Haliburton steal into Haliburton no-look into Siakam dunk. There's Obi Toppin dunking in Game 4 of the fourth quarter, which was, I believe, the loudest I've ever heard Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and the only time ever that I thought that they might win the finals during the series. There was the Ben Shepherd 3 at the end of the third quarter of Game 6 that put them up 30. That was the second loudest I've heard Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and that crowd pop was crazy. I mean, there's so many moments like that that aren't even Tyrese Haliburton shots, but Tyrese Haliburton shots are obviously the highlight of the year. Why even dance around it? I mean, we've done this conversation a million times, but I'll ask you in a different way. I think most people have said the Knicks is their favorite. Is the Knicks one your favorite of the 4?
Well, I would disagree with Tyrese that the final shot is the best among those. That is my personal favorite. I think the Knicks shot is the best one. Just everything about the Eastern Conference Finals moment was just incredible. The bouncing off the rim, it going all the way high enough to where it's not even in the camera shot anymore, dropping straight down into the net, the choke sign, Reggie being there, laughing. His laugh just like brings me so much joy. It's just incredible. Just the whole team running out onto the court to then realizing, oh no, it's a 2. And then it's like, don't let that choke sign live in infamy. and they lose that game. Like maybe you could argue, like you asked me favorite. So my favorite is still the OKC one just because I was there and I was able to experience that in person. But I think in terms of the best one, I would take that Knicks moment. Like if I could choose to be there for any of those, I think I would be there in Madison Square Garden for that moment, even over the one I was actually at. But yeah, I'd rank them in terms of best Eastern Conference Finals, then second round against the Cavs, then Bucks. And I think you could make an argument that the Haliburton 4-point play against the Bucks could even overtake that first round series. But
oh, no way. No,
just because it ends the series. I mean, it's not, it's a layup, but yeah, it's getting up onto the stanchion. I love that 4-point play though. I love both of those moments.
We'll get to the 4-point play because I need people to remember what was happening around that too. Like the games that happened in the middle of March. So the thing about the shot that Tyrese ranked first is like 10 years from now, like people remember the finals, right? And that was like a buzzer beater in the finals is like one of 10 people ever to do this. Like even when I die, it'll be maybe 15 people. Like it is so rare that happens. And to have it happen after he had done it 3 times, I mean, you were there, right? It felt inevitable. Like when they got the balls, like
when he got the ball, yeah, it was over.
And I was sitting next to a Thunder reporter that I know, and I film it, and I stopped filming it, and he's like, "You had really steady hands for that." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I've seen it like a bunch. Like I'm used to it. It's very easy to not like track a specific person. I just sit there and watch it happen again and again. It's crazy that the way the crescendo happened. That one was amazing just to see. Like I still the wah wah sound that they play in the OKC arena. Like I just think of his shot when I hear that sound now. But the Knicks one is my favorite. I mean, it's the thing about the Knicks one beyond the Reggie, the bounce, the everything is that was a playoff game, and it was the most improbable comeback in any basketball game I've ever seen. Not a regular season game. I'm sure there's been more improbable in NBA history that I have seen or been at. That was first. And it happened in the conference finals in Madison Square Garden after an insane first 2 rounds. And Haliburton's shot is the face of it and his reaction to it. And then, by the way, they were about to be down 6 in overtime. And a missed goaltend goes in their favor before a 3 that really swung the game. Naismith's heater was just like unbelievable stuff. And then a classic all-time shot after it. And you and I did this every time because I think I podcast with you after every crazy shot. We'd always run through like all the things that had to happen for it to even be possible to erase the deficit they erased. And the Knicks messed up, but not as much as the other teams. Like all the other teams were like comical turnover here and stupid thing there or missed free throws there. The Knicks had some of that, but not that much. It was just Naismith was the best player on the planet for 4 minutes, and Tyrese Haliburton bounced the ball to heaven and back. I'll just never forget it. I disagree with you. I think the Bucks one in the first round was amazing. It was the only one at home in the playoffs. It was the only one that ended a series, and that was before everybody got used to it. So them erasing a 7-point deficit. AJ Green is at the foul line with 40 seconds to go, and they're down 7, and they win. They win the game. Like, none of them ever make sense. None of, and like now the Cavs are flailing around, and the Bucks are flailing around. Like the Knicks figured it out, and the Thunder did too. But like 2 franchises like bent. It's just unbelievable.
All of these moments, are just incredible. And like I've told this story a lot of times, but like when Aaron Nesmith started going on that heater, like I was mostly just annoyed. Like as a fan, I was just like, you're wasting the makes for game 2. Like, why are you getting hot now? And then they just kept going in and kept going in. And like you said, like it wasn't like the Knicks were turning the ball over like Gary Trent when the ball's just going between his legs, or Donovan Mitchell committing an offensive foul after getting the ball, or like Nembhard getting steals in the first 2 improbable comebacks. It was just the Pacers shot making was generally worth more points than the Knicks. The one thing the Knicks did do where they messed up was those 2 missed free throws. Yep. And those are also 2 of my favorite moments, just because you can hear just the deflation in Madison Square Garden because they knew what was coming too, or they were very worried about it coming. Just like the total, like, you just hear 20,000 people at the same time as OG misses the free throw and then Cat misses the free throw. And yeah, just everything about that final moment. Like even like Neesmith was so hot, like he expected to get the ball again. And like he had a moment where like he comes behind Tyrese where Tyrese could have given him the ball for that last shot, but he's going for the tie initially, which surprised me. But then he gets the ball knocked out of his hands, changes his mind, goes back to the 3-point line, and then just that foot from it being just all of those moments are so incredible. The Cavs one, I think, is slept on a lot just because that was another insane one. Like we don't talk enough about the Aaron Neesmith tip dunk in that situation. Like there's so many plays in all of these that it's just like you said, like one of my favorite things was that I got to do this podcast after every one of these crazy things. And it just became a tradition of every series that the Pacers were in. Like, oh, here's my first one where something crazy happens. And then the second one where it's the end of the series. It was, just that, like both of the first two started, the crazy comeback started with people missing free throws, but the second one was with the Pacers, Pascal missing the free throw instead of the opponent. The third one, the Knicks missed free throws. So like there's just so many things that had to go right, including missed free throws by the Pacers themselves. Tyrese had to miss one in the Cavs and he got the rebound to hit the three. Just there's too many things to cover with just that. Like we could just spend the whole time redoing all of those playoff moments.
I sat on the floor of the concourse of MSG when we did the post-game presser for that one, our post-game podcast. People don't know this for like inside Locked On Pacers, Inside Baseball. I told Derek, I was like, I want you to be the closer at the end of every series, which sorry to do after Game 7 of the Thunder series. But I was like, and I guess after any epic moments, like I don't want to do it by myself. And there was one every round. There was one every single round that you just jumped right on for. Easy peasy. So two more notes before we move on. I don't want to move on because it was awesome, but there's a lot from this year. One is, I remember the Cavs one because so they had that crazy run in mid-March that we'll get to, and they had the Bucks game, but it was like, okay, they've already beaten the odds too much. And so they were down 9 or something against the Cavs, and they scored, and I tweeted like, surely not. Like, surely they're not about to do this again. And guess what? They did it. The other one that was fun is, so thing that made the Knicks one fun for me is, you know, the first round of the playoffs, it's Pacers Bucks. It's like mostly local beat guys, like maybe a national guy. Then they play the Cavs. It's like one extra national guy, but mostly still like, you know, everybody's at Celtics Knicks and in the West Series. Then it's Pacers Knicks, and it's like, I mean, you were there. Like it is packed. And so I'm in media row, and it's me, John Schumann, Ramona Shelburne are the three, and those two are at their first time this has happened. And they're both watching Neesmith and Haliburton do this, and they're like going like, oh my God, like they can't believe it. And I was like, it's so fun to watch people go through this because I've been sitting next to Dustin every other time that it happened. It was fun to watch other people experience the emotion of like how insane all these were. Okay. Non-buzzer beater moments from the playoffs. I already said the Haliburton steal to Siakam dunk. The Shepherd 3 to put him up 30. The Toppin dunk to put him up 7 in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, people hate Game 4, as they should. Did I miss? What other playoff moments do you remember? The 80-point half against the Cavs. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. What other playoff moments do you have just as moments?
Just one of my favorite of the playoffs that kind of gets, I feel like, overlooked, but just the Haliburton game in Game 4 against the Knicks, where he had that like 32-15 0 turnovers game. It was just one of the best like playoff games a Pacer has ever had. They put the Pacers up 3-1, gave them full control of that series. Just a special performance. That's one of my biggest ones from the playoffs that you haven't mentioned yet. What else do I have? I talked about Nembhard's steals. Both of those. Thomas Bryant, 3-pointers in Game 6, and then of the Eastern Conference Finals, and then seeing him after the game before the trophy.
Twice.
Yes, before the trophy presentation, and he's banging his fist on the on the scorer's table, like clearly like overcome with emotion, and like seeing guys come up to him. And just James Boyd wrote a great piece, I know, about that after the game, and like hearing that was the first time he had ever heard a crowd chant his name. Like that was just a special moment. Just the way that like the fact that so many Pacers found ways to contribute in these games. Like there were like 11 or 12 guys that had big moments. Like Jarris had great moments in the playoffs before he got hurt and was unable to play in the finals. Shepherd, we talked about in the finals with that huge shot to put him up 30 with one of the loudest moments in the arena that I've ever heard as well. Just like you go down the list, Tony Bradley's like a guy you signed in the middle towards the end of the year. Like you're not expecting him to contribute at all in the playoffs, and you stick him in and he does a good job in multiple series for you. Like they're just the way that team played, like the fact that the entire starting lineup was averaging 15 points through the first two series. I just really, really loved that team and how they played together. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful couple months, that whole playoff run.
That game 4 for Haliburton you mentioned against the Knicks was going to be for me as well. 32 points. That led the Pacers. 15 assists. That led the Pacers. Those are obvious stats. Oh, but just 12 rebounds too. Also led the Pacers. Like what? Insane. And they only won by 9. Like they needed all of that to win that game. I think one forgotten performance from everybody, it was the Haliburton playoffs, obviously, is you go into MSG for game 2 and the Knicks are pissed that they just lost game 1 that way. How are you going to win on the road? You haven't lost on the road yet this whole playoffs. If you win this game, you're like heavy favorites to go to the finals. And Pascal Siakam kicked the Knicks in the rear end in game 2. I think he had 40, 39, a lot of points. Like he was going crazy. They could not guard him at all in that game. And it wasn't like a comfortable win, but he dominated that night. It looked like the playoffs 2 years ago, and he just destroyed the Bucks over and over and over again. That one was really fun to see in person because he is the second fiddle for this Pacers team who not gets forgotten. That sounds so extreme, but like,
yeah, he gets
way less remembered than Haliburton. I'm glad he had a moment.
I feel like we just like, or at least on my end, I feel like I take him for granted. Like, yeah, Pascal's just great, like all the time. And yeah, just you get overlooked and you get spoiled by just how consistently great he is. And while I still think that Haliburton should have been the conference finals MVP, and I feel like this season is further evidence of that, he was a worthy pick. Siakam was and it's awesome that he got that. And like that game 2 was a huge reason. And he was more consistent in his performances with that. Just an incredible player. We haven't talked about him enough. Like without his consistent greatness, like all of these moments that Haliburton was able to finish with don't happen.
Agreed 100%. And that was his signature game of this year's postseason run to me. Everybody, quick breaks. We can talk about FanDuel. Fridays always feel better during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better every Friday night before the game tips off. FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. That's now appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during that happy hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off, make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect. Right before the games, right before your weekend gets going. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Regular season last year. So 2024-25, the 2025 portion. I want to remind everybody of what was happening because people who covered the Pacers all season and knew that this happened pointed to this stretch as like the launching point for what made the playoff clutchness all possible. Is they had that crazy stretch was insane. March 11th, that was the 4-point play Haliburton game. March 17th, they're in Minnesota. They're down 8 with 10 minutes to go. Oh, by the way, no Haliburton or Siakam that night. 90.5% chance Minnesota wins, according to ESPN. In Dallas on March 19th, hosting them. 128-121 Mavs with 1 minute and 7 seconds to go. Pacers ball after they made free throws for Max Christie. 95.4% chance the Mavs win. Next day, they're hosting the Nets. Nets 91, Pacers 86 with 1 minute and 11 seconds to go. Nets ball after a Ben Mathurin turnover. 91.6% of a Nets win. The Pacers won all of those games and then beat the Nets in overtime after I wrote the article going through all of those. It was insane. I don't know how they were losing all of those games with 17 seconds left. And then Obi Toppin had that crazy game in Minnesota, and Haliburton had the 4-point play against the Bucks. And the Mavs game, they just chipped at it. And the Nets games, they just chipped at it. I mean, that was truly like, how is this even possible level stuff? And it was just regular season game, but it was awesome. And I think gave them the belief required to do it in the postseason.
Yeah, truly, like it was incredible. And then it just like all got overshadowed by the same kind of things happening in the playoffs, just them being just even more extreme and more improbable. But that run in March was incredible. Like I saw the Haliburton shot against the Bucks in person. And then me and my family went on vacation to London. So I'm like missing a lot of these games. So every time I wake up in the morning and I see what happened, like how in the world, especially that Minnesota game, like they sat like every starter that they had, and just Obi Toppin turns into Liam Neeson in that movie about killing wolves. And then that just happened every time he played the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was one of the things that I listed, just Obi against the Wolves, just in general. Those two games were just awesome. He really loves playing against Julius Randle, clearly. But yeah, just all of those games, it was like, and they said like that it was preparing like every time it would happen in the future, like, yeah, we've been through this. It's just like, and it really did. It was just like every time it built into this thing, like they just had so much belief that it doesn't matter what that score is. Like we've done this before, we can do this again. And then it just compounded every time they did it. It was just like they were just more determined to make it happen again. And there was another one at the end of the year. You didn't even mention game 82 with Ray J. Dennis, Quentin Jackson, Enrique Freeman, Tony Bradley, those guys all doing it too. Like it didn't even matter who was on the court. You could take the first string out and they're going to do it against Minnesota. You could take the first two strings out and they're going to do it against the Cavs, against their backups in game 82. It was just an incredible run. There was a reason people were calling it the team of destiny, because it really felt that way all the way up until game 7.
That Cavs one was funny and special because it was like they had their seed locked up. Like there was no reason for them to actually win the game. Right. Yeah. And then they trade their pick anyway, so who cares? And it was the last game that Ray J and Q and Enrique could play because they were ineligible for the postseason. They were like, great, let's go, let's do it. And they were all very good. And I had to be there for 10 million years because it's double overtime. And then I had to drive home that day because the game was at 1. So thank you for reminding me of that 10 hours in the car day. But that was a very fun game to be at. It was really funny before the game, too, because everybody was joking because the Masters was that day. Like, people were joking in the media room, like, Kenny Atkinson, no calling timeouts. Let's go. Quick game. And then it went to double overtime. So we were all there for forever. I have one more game from the regular season that year, like last season. If you have any more games. Okay,
I got one other thing about that March run. Just the Haliburton shot coming against the Bucks, which they needed that one game to have home court against the Bucks. Yes, and they were playing on a back-to-back, and the Bucks weren't. So just I'm adding more things to like how important that shot was to give him the opportunity to close in game 5 on his home floor and finish the series with that layup.
That's a good point. That's why they had the tiebreaker and why that last game against the Cavs didn't matter. I actually had forgotten about that. Good time to having to track the scenarios of game 82, like 2 years ago when we were all sitting in the room waiting for them to come in for the pressers, and like on a Bulls-Knicks game is in overtime, and we're all like, come on, who are they playing? Okay, so you have nothing else from last regular season. Is that correct?
Let me give one more. I think last regular season, you mentioned the Mavs and Nets. Yeah, I think I'm out for last.
All right. I have one more that I actually am a little surprised you don't have. So here's my stumper. That's not even a stumper. That you didn't remember.
Maybe
Capital One Arena.
Okay.
2 minutes to go. And the Pacers are dribbling out the clock in a game that they are winning by 53 points. They did not take a shot for the final 2 minutes after hanging 162 on the Wizards. They made 27 threes that night. The following players made multiple threes. Tyrese Haliburton made 7. Miles Turner made 4. Aaron Nesmith made 3. Jarris Walker made 4. Thomas Bryant made 2. Ben Shepherd made 2. A bunch of other guys made 1. They had 9 players in double figures, and Andrew Nembhard was not one of them. Tony Bradley was close. Nobody could miss. Nobody could miss. I've never seen a game like that where for 48 minutes of a full game, the entire team was just flawless. And they were up so much that poor Quentin Jackson, is dribbling out a shot clock with 2 minutes to go. And Wizards fans are booing that the Pacers aren't continuing to score. It was insane. That one had to be on there to me.
That's a great one. I'm really glad that you brought that up. Like, I've never seen a coach be like, okay, we're done. Stop shooting the ball when there's 2 minutes left in the game. Like, I've never seen a dribble out the clock. Like, it's the equivalent of the 2 minute warning, and then the quarterback just takes 3 knees and wastes the entire 2 minutes because we're done. Like, I've never seen anything like that in a basketball game where you purposely take like 3 shot clock turnovers at the end of a game. Like, I don't even know how many it was total, but more than I've ever seen in a single game. That's just like,
I have it up.
like we have to quit making shots. We're embarrassing the Wizards too much. Quit doing this. I've never seen that before.
Okay, officially, Quentin Jackson makes a 3 with 2 minutes and 33 seconds to go. That put the Pacers up 159-103. 2 minutes and 3 seconds to go. Ben Shepherd makes a 3 to put them up 162-103. Julian Champagny scores, and then shot clock turnover, shot clock turnover, shot clock turnover, and the game's over.
It's literally 3
comedy.
Knees. It's literally the 3 quarterback kneels.
3 and the other game they played in Washington, they like came back down 1 million, and Obi Toppin went crazy in overtime. That game wasn't like that memorable, but I remember looking at it when going back through these. All right, I have nothing more from.
You made me think of one more. Early in January, they like ended the Cavs like 12-game winning streak, and I feel like they did it even without Tyrese in the game, or he got hurt.
He got hurt at halftime.
Hurt at halftime. So like another big one that just is hitting me. Jarris Walker had a great game in that one. Hold on to that.
That night was the first night that I was like, okay, they're good again. Because remember, they were so bad to start the season.
Yeah.
And they're only lost. They played the Cavs and won in Cleveland. Then they played the Cavs at home and lost. And the next game, and that was their only loss in January, was that Cavs game. Like, they were on fire at that point.
Yeah. Like, just in general, like, I wrote down the Pacers record, like, in 2025. Like, the regular season was 34-14, which was the 4th best record in the NBA. Like, it really showed, like, how good they were. Like, that they were, like, kind of a dark sleeper that people maybe didn't expect because of the 10-15 start. They were still under 500 at the start of 2025, I believe. And then they just ran through the East with ease and went 15-8 overall in the playoffs and nearly won Game 7. Like you talked about, the first time, or one of the only times you thought they were going to win the series was in Game 4 when Obi had that dunk. And I think everybody in the arena, including the Pacers, probably felt that way. I definitely felt that way in Game 7 when Tyrese came out the way he did. And obviously we all know what happened after that, but that'll always be the greatest what if in Pacers history and a lot of NBA history.
Close to NBA history. Like Durant hurt in the finals, Haliburton hurt in the finals, etc. Right? Like obvious final series changing stuff. One more break here, everybody, so we can talk about game time during basketball season. There is nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, the first big run that gets everybody on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's why Game Time is here. They come in to give fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the app is straightforward and intuitive. You could find tickets in just a few steps. You can see the view from your seat before you show up. You can see the fees up front, so your total price is clear. They have zone deals to help you unlock great seats at better value, whether it's an NBA game or a different live event. Everything is right there in one place. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. I'm sure I could come up with more from pre.
I do have one other. I just thought of one other from this season, and it's very important. Very important. You briefly mentioned it, but trading their pick for next year's pick should absolutely be mentioned.
Yeah, God.
Because if that didn't happen right now, this background would not be an exaggeration. I would be very much in Pacers hell. Beyond my wildest imaginations, if they, although it was like slightly protected, right?
Yes, top 4.
So maybe they would have been fine.
No. The opposite. If they hadn't done that and they had a top 4 protected pick out this year, Pascal Siakam would be. You wouldn't be able to find Pascal Siakam. No one would see him for months. They're gone.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Maybe he'd be a little less frustrated and a little more relaxed.
That is a good
one. Although he'd probably he'd be just as frustrated. We just wouldn't be hearing as much about it because we wouldn't be able to find him.
I almost led Derek and I were talking about this before we started recording. I almost led the podcast with the moment of the year being on January 1st, their first transaction. This is obviously not the moment of the year. I was in jest. Their first move of the year was a Tristan Newton waiver to bring in Ray J. Dennis. All their signings this calendar year, I believe, would be Tony Bradley, Ray J. Dennis, Jahlil Okafor. I can't even remember free agency now. James Wiseman, they signed in free agency. DeLon Wright, they signed in free agency. I'm not going to do all this.
Campaign. Monty Morris.
Yeah, all this season's ones you know.
Mac McClung.
Okay, I challenged you to find one thing from after the finals.
Oh, I got you covered, man.
I have one, but I want you to name one first, then I'm going to do my one and see if you have it or not.
Okay, the first one that I thought of immediately was Johnny Furphy, Summer League dunk.
Oh, that was mine. Oh, no. You got it. Okay, yeah, that was amazing.
I knew that was going to be probably going to be your one, but isn't that sad? You came up with one thing, and it was a Summer League dunk.
There's 2 super obvious ones, I thought, and that was one of them.
Yeah, so it was it's one of the best dunks that I've ever seen, Summer League. Like, I wasn't able to watch that game live, so I came back to it. Like, I'm just scrolling on Twitter, and I see a picture of the dunk, and I just was like, this is a really funny Photoshop. Like, this all I thought. I did not think that was a real picture. And then I saw the actual highlight, and that is a real picture. Just an incredible, the greatest poster I've ever seen. Johnny Furphy, like, truly one of my favorite moments of the year is that Summer League dunk. For sure.
Poor Noah Asenge, whose entire career to this point is get drafted in the lottery, get yammed on by Johnny Furphy, play 4 NBA minutes, and get hurt for the season. And now he's not playing for the rest of the year. Good Lord.
I don't think he ever recovered from that picture. I think he was still hurting from that, and that's why he is out for the years. He just can't recover from dying in Summer League.
Yeah, all-timer, and the Pacers social media post with Asenge's little face just cowering back. And, of course, the other moment of the post-finals time of this year is also against the Bulls, right? It's Siakam's game winner.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing else super memorable has happened this season.
So I have a bunch of things from after the year, but none of them besides that Siakam shot are actual playing the game, except for one other thing about the Pacers playing basketball. And just the Quentin Jackson game to get the first win of the season against the Warriors was very, very fun. He briefly turned into Tyrese, and it was 25 and 12 and no turnovers, or 25 and 10, no turnovers, something like that. Like, it was a Haliburton game with the double-digit assists and 0 turnovers, I believe. I really enjoyed that. Outside of that, I don't have a ton of like on-court moments. I'm going to throw a shout out to the new City Edition uniforms and the court. I think they deserve a shout. Great. Awesome. I love those jerseys. I love that court. One of my favorite things that they've done recently. I hope they do more with that royal blue and yellow combination. I really hope that they continue using that court in some way next year, because it would be really sad to waste it on this season, which is just lost as it is. Then I have Stranger Things, giving a shout out to the Steve Alford, Reggie Miller debate. That's one of my favorite Pacers moments of 2025 post finals. Brief, like 10-second clip that they included two military guys. One guy saying Alford would have doubled that score. And then the other guy like, Reggie went 4 for 6. I'm telling you, he's going to be special. Walsh can do no wrong. And great thing, the date in the show is the actual date of Reggie Miller's first NBA game. He really did go 4 for 6. So well done there with the little nod to Reggie on the show based in Indiana.
J Huff age gate, best of 2025 for me. That was fun. I don't know if anybody remembers that. The NBA tweeted, "Happy 28th birthday, J Huff." And I'd spent all summer being like, oh, yeah, J Huff's kind of young, right? He's only 26. He's about to turn 27. And I was like, that says 28. And then I was like, well, let's see what they said last year. Last year, the NBA tweeted, "Happy 26th birthday, J Huff." And I had a couple days where I was like, how old is J Huff? And I had to email people and ask. He's 28. So, that was a fun thing I spent time on in the summer. Imagine getting that email from some God, like,
how old is your center? How old is J Huff? Do you have his birth certificate?
Quick question about a player. How old is this guy? Thomas Bryant dapping up everybody after Pacers Cavs was really fun. They all very much missed him. I don't think I can think of anything else. I'm like, Aaron Nesmith was close. He had that tying layup against the Bucks in the game. Giannis hit the buzzer beater. That was awesome. He almost had.
Yes, there is a good Aaron Nesmith moment, extending his contract.
Yes,
grade A moment. Grade A moment.
I still did not think he was going to do that. So good for him.
And another, like with J Huff, like just getting J Huff for a very cheap price and him looking like he can at least be a rotational big in the future, and him having a very cheap contract, like that's not nothing. Having like something at center to either be second or third string in the future, if they can figure out a starter, maybe it's him. Maybe he'll look even better with Haliburton back. It seems more likely that he's probably a backup. But like finding that guy and thinking he can be a contributor in the future for very little, and having him on a contract that's very cheap for the next 3 years. Is he still under, or just 2 after this one?
3 after this.
3 after this. So
speaking of extensions, Rick Carlisle
extension. Yes. So unfortunately, unless he wins today, we could have shouted out the 1,000th win, but I've made this joke a lot on the Pacers Recap Live that Rick is the tank commander in chief, with just like doing little things to kind of push the Pacers in a direction of losing, like starting a fourth quarter recently with Micah Potter and Ethan Thompson both on the court at the same time. And just kind of letting things flow in the wrong direction, get the momentum going in the other way. Been lots of little things like that. Having J Huff throw the ball in at the end of a game was very weird.
Yeah, I got to push back on that because everybody said that like J Huff wasn't throwing the ball in the whole game. I took a picture in the third quarter of a play they were running from the same spot, and he was the inbounder. That's just what they were doing.
Okay, still feels weird. He hadn't been in the game because Nembhard's the one who throws the ball in almost every time from the baseline, or not the baseline, the sideline. So no one remembers that J Huff was the inbounder at all if Siakam doesn't trip. Like it doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe.
Worst of 2025, that game. that's up there for sure.
There's plenty of those worst of.
Yeah, the worst of is very
shooting
obvious.
in general.
Or the number one worst is very obvious. Skip. Everybody knows it. Yes, that is a low light for sure. I'm sure there are more if I really thought about it.
Yeah, we don't need to go through worst. I'm trying to pretend I'm not in hell.
You have the hell up behind you. If you aren't watching on YouTube, Derek has a very dark red cave with Tyreek Evans and LeBron James in there with him, and Scott Foster.
Yeah, there's some other people. I couldn't do my updated version of this. There's a couple more now. So if you tune into the YouTube show, you'll see some other people in the background with me these days.
What a sad ending to a great year. In fact, again, I would say the number one best. Like last year's version of this podcast, they had All-Star in Indy. They made the conference finals. That year was the year of their cup run, but it was like in the prior calendar year. Siakam re-signs. Like a lot of awesome happened in 2024, and it's not even close. Like it's not even in the same stratosphere as 2025. It's crazy. 2023 had Haliburton's deal and the cup run and a lot. Like it's insane. It's just it's crazy. Siakam trade was in 2024 too. I could keep going. My God.
Yeah, it's an incredible 2 years. A good friend of mine, Kevin, he was telling me a story today that is his son Jack's pretty young, and he runs up to him and he says, "Haliburton's gonna play soon," and he's like, "No, he's out all year." And Jack says, "No, it's next year, like in a couple days. It's the New Year's." Like not understanding that the whole year doesn't mean January. So very brutal, but he does come back in 2026.
Yes.
A huge moment coming in 2026. Unfortunately, I think everybody feels like Jack does. Unfortunately, that is not just in a couple days. We have to wait a very long time still.
I think people are now thrilled that he will not be returning very soon in this 6 and 27 season.
I mean,
probably a good thing.
If I could watch him play tomorrow and he was like fully healthy and all of that stuff, I think I would still want it to happen despite, I don't know.
Put together a spirited 15 minutes, Tyrese. How about that?
Yeah. Never mind. Yeah.
Next year's of this will be very interesting. I'll be very curious about his return game in general. I was at Vic's and they had all these number 4 signs and he checked in the late in the first quarter and everybody went crazy. And then he had a tying shot in the waning seconds. It was so poetic. I'm looking forward to seeing
I've been to too many of these games, Tony. I went to Paul George's game. I'm also wearing an old Beatles reference Paul George shirt today. I went to Paul George's comeback game when he came back from the broken leg and came off the bench and he hit a couple shots. Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. Oladipo's was just insane. Him taking that deep 3 and hitting it to send the game into overtime was incredible. Who knows what's going to happen with Tyrese? I think the thing that worries me the most about next season is clearly the Pacers need Tyrese Haliburton, but how much can you put on a guy the next season when he's coming back from an Achilles and you're expected to be immediately a really good team again? And it's going to be very interesting. I'm so excited to watch him play. I just hope that it's not, I don't know. I know I'll need to be patient when that next season starts, despite going through 50 more games of what is probably going to be awful.
49.
Oh, thank you.
Give yourself some hope. And tonight is the first of those 49 as the Pacers wrap up an incredible year. Podcasting solo tomorrow after Pacers Magic and then a new year. And the Pacers will try to be ending the longest winning streak they've had in a while, the third longest in my lifetime. Their schedule's pretty hard. We'll have all that right here on Locked On Pacers. Derek, where can people find you, the things you write and the things you say in front of this lovely background of yours?
You can find the things I write on iPacers.com. I have started a live YouTube show with Kyle Taylor. You can find us on the iPacers YouTube page. Just search iPacers, or you can search for Evil Pacers Recap Live because we are stuck in hell. The palindrome has gotten even longer, as long as we can get it. Our next live show will be after Friday's game against Wemby and the Spurs. So catch us on there. We usually try to go live just a few minutes after the final buzzer. If I'm not in the arena, if I'm in the arena, then we have to wait like 15, 20 minutes after, but we go live pretty quick and get things rolling. We're having a good time, even though we're in Pacers hell. So on Friday, we're going to do New Year's resolutions for all the Pacers, and we'll have some fun with that.
Pacers New Year's resolution. And the losing streak, I would hope. I know everybody wants losses, but there's a point where it's like, that's too many. That's a lot in a row. Maybe don't lose.
Just listen to Pascal's press conference. Like,
yes.
you got to have some wins, or things just get really dark for everybody.
Yeah, they're there. 17 of their 27 losses are part of losing streaks. Like it's crazy. Thank you all so much for listening today. What a sour note to end a very, very happy year podcast on. Have a safe New Year's. Enjoy Pacers Raptors. See you guys next year.